Wonderful.
I've got a wonderful experience here, guys. I'm at the old Air Force Base here for ECTA Motorsports, but they have a museum here, and I'm honored that this man right here is going to tell me about it.
Hello, my name is Joseph Alley. I'm with the National Cold War Center in Blytheville, Arkansas, and I've been asked to give a little bit of a history of Blytheville Air Force Base, where our museum is soon to be located. So if you look at the map here, this is an aerial shot of Blytheville Air Force Base from the late 1980s, and it gives a really good idea of the B-52 operations that they had out here. Now, Blytheville itself was started, Blytheville Air Force Base was originally started in 1942 as an Army Air Force's pilot training facility for the B-25 bomber. They graduated about 3,500 cadets out of here and closed it after the war. Then for a few years, this was the municipal airport. And then in 1954, they reopened this facility under the Tactical Air Command. They had 3 squadrons of B-57s out here. One of the more interesting stories I found out about them is the B-57s at Blytheville were involved in the nuclear weapons test out at the Bikini Atoll. They had the B-57s flying through the mushroom clouds of the thermonuclear weapons they were testing in order to see how radiation affected planes and pilots.
Wow.
It's an interesting story.
Very interesting. Very. I love history.
Of course, the B-57, if you're familiar with that plane, it never really found its niche in the Air Force. So in 1958, they were taken out, and the Strategic Air Command and the B-52s were brought in. And you can see on this map here, when the Strategic Air Command came in, they built this part up here called an alert facility. Now, the Strategic Air Command, they had an alert program with 2 components to it, an air alert and ground alert. So this is a good example of what you see with a ground alert. You've got 3 components here: the weapons storage area, where the nuclear weapons are going to be stored and maintained. And then over here you have the alert pad, where the B-52s and KC-135s are sitting, waiting, ready to go at 15 minutes notice. And then you've got the readiness crew building, also called the alert shack. And this is a 2-story dormitory that also serves as an admin space. And this is where crews are going to be setting on alert for usually about a week at a time, waiting for klaxons to run out to their planes and take off. Now, when I say 15 minutes notice, I mean 15 minutes notice. The klaxon sounds, and 15 minutes later, the last plane is in the air and headed out.
Wow.
Now, to give you an idea about some of the weapons capabilities here, we have 5 B-52s sitting on the alert pad. Each B-52 is armed with 2 Hound Dog GAM-77 cruise missiles. GAM-77 cruise missile has what's called a variable yield warhead with a minimal setting of 75 megatons, which is roughly 3 times as powerful as the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima at the end of World War II.
Wow.
So we have got 5 B-52s here. Each one has 2 missiles, so that's 10 at this facility. And then there are 58 other alert facilities, just like this one, all across the continental U.S. Each one has at least 5 B-52s, each armed with 2 cruise missiles, waiting, ready to launch at 15 minutes notice. You can do a little math in your head and figure out just how much destructive power the United States Air Force could launch at a moment's notice during the Cold War.
It's amazing.
Now, in addition to this ground alert program, you also have what's called the air alert program. And whereas the ground alert program has planes sitting on the ground waiting and ready to go at a moment's notice, the air alert program already has the B-52s in the air. Now, most commonly, you're going to have a B-52 flying from Sheffield Air Force Base in central Texas to Thule Air Force Base in Greenland and back. And this is roughly a 20-hour trip. Now, the way that they're able to accomplish this is the U.S. Air Force figured out that they can mess with the B-52 pilots, mess with their internal clock and keep them awake and alert for almost 24 hours straight. And yes, so short naps, long sleeps, and high-protein meals, and you can keep a B-52 in the air almost indefinitely. The only thing you really need to worry about is fuel, and that's where the KC-135s come in. They're able to refuel the plane in the air so it never has to land. Now, in 1962, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, the U.S. Air Force put a bunch of additional planes into the Air Alert program, including 4 from the Blytheville Air Force Base. So they had 2 planes that would take off every morning of the Cuban Missile Crisis, every morning of the Cuban Missile Crisis at 4:37 and 4:38 a.m. And they would fly from Blytheville Air Force Base to Spain and then on to Central Europe and back. That was a 20-hour trip. While those 2 were flying, they had another 2 sitting on the apron, prepped, ready to go for the next morning. And when those 2 came back, it would basically, they would just switch out and continuously launching every morning at 4 a.m. And they did this all through the crisis and an additional 7 days after the crisis.
Wow.
Yes. So suffice
That's amazing. So much history right now, and you're the man to tell it. You got me. I'm listening, buddy.
Well, thank you very much. So the base itself was, so you can probably guess, it did a lot during the Cuban Missile Crisis. It did a lot throughout the rest of the Cold War. The 97th Wing, which was the primary wing here, they were also involved in Linebacker 2, which was the last bombing campaign at the end of the Vietnam conflict, as well as Operation Desert Storm, which was the major bombing campaign in the early 90s.
Yeah.
The base was finally closed in 1992 after the Strategic Air Command was dissolved the year prior. Since then, it's been operated under the joint ownership of cities of Blytheville and Gosnell. And we have a couple of tenants that inhabit the buildings. Primarily, we have Aviation Repair Technologies. If you drive by now, you'll see a bunch of planes sitting out on the apron,
Yep,
waiting to get their engines worked on. My museum started in 2016.
Wow.
We got the head of the airport authority got a call from the Park Service inquiring about our alert facility. They were doing some research on it, and through that series of phone calls, we figured out that this alert facility was almost fully intact. And so a local group got together, and we are now in the middle of a $40 million capital campaign in order to get this alert facility fully restored for public visitation, as well as construct a museum complex to sit next to it to tell the full story of the Cold War.
That would be huge. I mean, that'd be worth the trip. I'm 10 hours away, and I love history, and there's a lot of people like me. And I've been out here, for the events, and I always wondered, I didn't quite know when it was closed, and everything. So, very interesting. Very interesting.
Well, thank you very much. All right. So that's my elevator pitch.
Elevator pitch. That was a great pitch.
So, tell you what, also, if you want.
Yeah, you got my attention. I'm all yours right now.
Well, you can come on down to here. I'll show you a couple of other things.
Wow, the posters are killer. I'll have to take some pictures of those.
So throughout the rest of the building, we do have other rooms that go over the history of the air base. In this room, we've got a lot of stuff that primarily focuses on World War II era, as well as the base's short time in the Tactical Air Command when they had the B-57s.
You have done a wonderful job with this building here. As I walk through the hallway, there are a lot of work down here. A lot of work, a lot of passion, which I truly respect that.
There's a lot. It's not just me. Suffice to say, I've got a really dedicated board and a number of volunteers.
So this would this been an officer's bed or a regular?
So this,
what's this for right here?
So
Tell me.
This is some ranch oak furniture, and this is what was indicative for a lot of Air Force bases at the time.
Oh man!
And Air Force,
beautiful.
Well, it's really good furniture. The Air Force ordered a lot of it en masse, and we've got some of it in storage. We're going to be using over at the alert facility when we get it open.
I would have it in my house, definitely.
And of course, over here, this is a favorite for a lot of people. So this is the klaxon. So this is what you would have heard in order to get you to go and head out to the airplanes.
And you had 15 minutes to be in there.
Yes, uh-huh.
Wow.
And then in here we have what we call the vision room. So this room is a bit of a distillation of what we've got planned for the larger facility. So we've got some basic themes that we're working on in here, as well as some renderings for the interior and the exterior of the National
I
Cold War
like
Center.
the wallpaper of the
Yes.
of the airfield. That is something totally different. And that is carpet, isn't it? No, it's wallpaper. That's wild. It looks like carpet, man. It's great. That is awesome. Yeah, I will put this out on YouTube and Facebook, and you guys come here because he needs signatures to help, right? To get
Well, so I was about to
What's
say,
a-
the biggest thing that I need right now
You
are
tell
just
me.
boots in the door.
Okay, tell me
Because
about it.
I need visitors. I need more people learning about what we're working on. I need people to come in and see all of this. And he's talking about signatures. When we apply for grants, it really helps out when we've got
Yeah.
a large,
Sign where
very
you're
full
from.
visitors blog. So
If we just got like that hour radius of you just to really start paying attention to this place, because you're in, I mean, Memphis is an hour from here, right? You got all the big cities around you, as you are a big city to me. I'm just from a little small town of 900 in West Virginia. So you got my attention in here. So what would this been right here? This would have been one of their...
that was a radio that was used.
Communication.
To make announcements over the
Okay.
basis PA system.
Cool. I like it.
And over there, we've got a little 3D model that shows what the interior of the alert facility looked like.
Okay.
So the bottom floor was all dorm rooms. Depending on the time period, you could either be doubles or singles. And on the top floor, you have a cafeteria, the crew briefing room, classroom space, admin space, a lounge area, and a gymnasium.
Wow.
They had everything they could need in that building. And they had to because they were stuck in it for 7 days out there. That was how long normally a alert alert duty at Blytheville Air Force Base.
This is very interesting to have this here. Now I know so much more about this base, and I'll appreciate it so much more when I come to these events here. Just cool. I like the way you got it decorated with a lot of the information and the pieces of it, pictures. I think it's this room maybe I've seen the posters in. Yeah. Them are cool World War II era posters, aren't they?
Well, that's all post-World War II.
Oh, post World War, I mean, right
Yeah,
after.
So the first three are just after World War II, and fairly famous. And then and they focus on the Strategic Air Command. And then the last two are kind of two sides of the same coin: Dr. Strangelove and Failsafe.
Yeah.
The majority of their studies involve people living in the area between 14 and 1600 CE.
I always talk about our post old pictures, and my thing is respect the past is my 3 words I put up. Mm-hmm. So I really truly appreciate what you're doing here and what you will have done, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
These guys and women, these women and men are the reason I can do what I can. You know, I'm able to do what I can. They kept us free. Mm. And you do a fine job, man. You was rocking it in there on that. You had me like right on that. I feel like I was almost there, you know,
Well, thank you.
when you was talking about the time and everything, where stuff was. General Ira C. Eaker.
Yeah, in '88 they renamed the base from Blytheville Air Force Base to Eaker Air
Okay.
Force Base.
That's a good picture.
Yes.
Oh my, 1929 circa. I think this is the last room.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like this room. That is cool. That screams 1950s, 60s, I'm thinking.
64.
64. Well, thank you again. You really showed me. You got my interest now, and I love sharing things, new things I find out about. This is definitely one of them.
Well, thank you very much for coming in today.
Well, I'm glad. They said you got to go check that out, and they said, you know, I'm always supporting something that, especially, you know, what you guys got planned is going to be huge.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, most definitely.
So you guys got to come and check this out. Even have a gift shop so you can say you've been here.
Uh-huh.
Remember, guys, it'd be a boring world if he's all the same. Keep being you.